Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Magic Arena. And today we are doing Historic Artisan. Okay, I can put down the deck list for a little bit. And it's a bit of a shame. We got a new Historic Anthology to go with this, but because it's Artisan, the only thing we get from the Historic Anthology are literally just the lands. They could not even give us a good uncommon to work here. So let's to showcase in point. Historic Anthology 6. Let's turn off all the filters. And this is all we got. So they could not even bother to give us an uncommon here. Oh well. So that's a bit sad. But you know what? Let's make the most out of this. We're actually going to be playing in Soul Artifact here. So the premise is we animate an artifact, we get ourselves a relatively big creature. Because of these artifact lands and Darksteel Citadel, we have them in indestructible form, so that's a pretty solid addition. So we are looking to animate either the bridge or the Citadel, and what we have the Ensoul Artifact. That's our classic way of 2 mana, 5/5 in addition to other types. Let's move the Destructive Protocol to the side. We have Animating Fairy, a little bit less, and it has to be a non-creature artifact. But otherwise, we do get a backup 2/2 if we need to afterwards. Kenku Artificer, a little bit smaller again. You get a 1/1 and you make a non-creature artifact a 3/3, but with flying. So that's actually also kind of relevant. And we have Tezzeret's Touch, the more expensive Ensoul artifact. But when the enchanted artifact's put into the graveyard, return that artifact to its owner's hand. So it does give us a way to buy back some of the other stuff here. So what's our protection plan? It's mostly just the counter spells, Disrupting Protocol, Metallic Rebuke. We have Thirst for Knowledge for card draw. Aether Spell Bomb. Ideally, we're not animating this because we're using this to as bounce effect, but we do have this just in case. I'm trying to remember if Executioner's Capsule is in the format. That would also be a good one. We also added Fountain of Renewal. Gingerbread's a good add-on also because of the can't be blocked except by creatures with haste. And otherwise, that's pretty much it here. We are running the full 24 lands. I think we could probably shave off a land or two to make, because our curve is on the low side. We could also shave off some of the Thirst for Knowledge for other cards. Actually, that's an interesting point. Do we have any black artifacts? No. There are black artifacts. Do we have any good ones? Like we have Ghost Lantern, but we don't have that many creature cards to return. Reaper's Talisman, it's an equipment, which is Cauldron's fine. Implements of Malice, we probably try not to discard if possible. There's a Blood Fountain, which we could kinda use. It's a Thieves' Tools gives us a treasure token, so that also kinda works. Vault Scourge would be a good add-on here. It is an artifact creature. It already has flying and lifelink, so it does work nicely with Ensoul Artifact and whatnot. It's just a bit on the soft side. So there are ways we can adjust the game plan here. Like I could cut the 3 Thirst for Knowledge for Vault Scourge, and because these are Phyrexian mana, I can stick to the 1 Swamp here. We'll consider that change as necessary, but for now we'll run the deck as is. See how it goes. It's really hard to get games to validate this one. It looks like perhaps in a good way, everyone is running interaction, so we can't exactly rely on that. Also, not helping that our opponent goes first. We probably want to Aether Spellbomb early here. It's the 2 Tezzeret's Touch is a nice touch. Opponent's going on Soul Warden. So depending on the situation, I could just Aether Spellbomb bounce. I could also just hold back the mana and go for Metallic Rebuke. Actually, no, we're not. No, we can't do it anyway. But we do hold back the Aether Spellbomb to bounce whatever our opponent plays. I'm assuming our opponent's gonna play something big, like a Celestial Unicorn. Do I care about this? I think I care about it enough to bounce it. And if our opponent tries to recast again, then we go for the Metallic Rebuke. We actually have it in spades, in fact. So we're just going to counter our opponent's next play before we going for Tezret's Touch. Ideally, I would like to hit one more mana. So Warden, that's fine. Opponent's going to go really greedy here. But now our opponent does have a bit of a life gain plan, so we need to be careful. Oh wait, never mind. We got the cheaper version. And Soul Artifact on the bridge. Let's... You can start kind of beating down our opponent. Now, because of the... Okay, so we're definitely saving this Aether Spellbomb to bounce again. We can also just hold this for blocking, but we're definitely bouncing the Unicorn here. We're gonna do Rebuke again. Though we kind of need some help to do Rebuke again here in this case. Artificer is not helping us here. I will swing first though. Then we'll see if our opponent plays anything, so we can decide if we want to bounce the Unicorn right then and there. Lunarch Veteran, that's actually fine. We're just waiting to see if our opponent drops something relatively big. Actually, we might have to take the damage here, because we want to bounce this at the end of our opponent's turn. We do need cards. We do need to draw cards though. Lands at least. That's kinda a land. It does set us up for the next one, but we might need to hold back the Metallic Rebuke at this point. I could just play this one, turn this into a flying creature, but I don't see the point of swinging all the way in here. We definitely need to count. But also note, Metallic Rebuke is not a hard counter, so if our opponent does have another land, yeah, we'll counter this. Our life total is getting awfully low, so we might just play Kenku Artificer as a lowly 1/1 if we don't have a... Well, Niger Storefront's nice too. Yeah, because of the way these work, I am downgrading this into a 3/3 with flying. I can then upgrade it again into an 8/8 with touch afterwards. Oh no, because it's already a creature, it doesn't trigger it. Which is fine. I just need an extra blocker. That is the problem with this kind of deck. It is essentially an AB deck. But thankfully, our opponent was really leaning on this one. So we are holding back on defense. Our opponent's going to have a lot of life here. Opponent can eventually start turning in on us, so that is a problem. We might have to hold this back. Yeah, we just need to hit another artifact, and then we can kind of get the ball rolling. Thankfully, our opponent is kind of stuck. Okay, we're hitting all our counters. I will note that this is not very good. So, yeah, Soul Warden's fine. Opponent hits the playset of Soul Warden. Yeah, we might not win this one just... We need the Disruption Protocol instead. Thirst for Knowledge, I am willing to keep that. We can probably pitch the other Artificer and one Rebuke or one Touch. Angelic Gift. Flying, draw a card. The Rebuke is not very great here. Yeah, it's unfortunate that we hit the wrong set of cards. Wait, there's our disruption. Wait, there's a Disruption Protocol, but we don't have an artifact to tap, so probably discard one of each. Yeah, this is... Yeah, we got stuck on lands for so long. It's not... It didn't help us. We we had all the parts for part A, but we never got the parts for part B. So we can kind of concede this one. Opponent just happening to hit all the cards they need. We were able to hold up a defense, but it does illustrate that we do have problems with our interaction suite or lack thereof. Are there any ways we could improve on this? There is a blue flying creature. We could just use that instead. My only caveat with that one is, well, it's not too bad actually, because what we can do is we'll give that artificer another shot, but it's looking like not quite paying off. Good thing it's only uncommons. I didn't really spend much there. If Kenku Artificer doesn't really pay off, I'm willing to cut it in favor of more artifacts. And okay, so unfortunately we are missing blue. I am willing to risk on this one. We could just go Fountain of Renewal and try to draw into it. Well, we hit both our black sources. Well, there's still 2 more Darksteel Citadels, which is an issue. So at the very least, this one buys us quite a bit of time. Ongoing Chaplain at Arms and Code Spell Cleric. So this will run out of gas if we can stabilize. Unfortunately, it's looking like that might not happen. We might even be forced to sack this to draw a card. We'll just have to take the hits first, though. That's really no good way around it. Inspiring Overseer. So this is where Animating Fairy would be good. Not hitting? Wow, are we just not hitting the sources that we need? I will sack this one, but if we still don't hit the blue source, then that was a really bad keep on our part, so that would be our fault. Yeah, our opponent's about to overwhelm us quite a bit. This one's not going to be enough. Yeah, well, we will have to crack this. We can't wait for our upkeep because we do need to... Okay, we hit our blue source. But unfortunately, that gives us only 1 blocker, which 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, and it's very unfortunate. Now, we needed to be flying also, but yeah, this one did not pay off. We hit too many not... We got stalled out so much. So it shows us how important that blue source is. We can't just try to open into it. So let's see. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's enough to kill us. We don't have enough blockers. Even if I were... An opponent has a Kabira takedown to finish us there. Man. Maybe we do cut the number of lands. Which is a very odd thing to say considering that both of our losses were kind of land related. Let's try one more on this one. We will make changes to this. Yeah. Okay, this is a much better keep. We have Kenku and Tezzret's Touch, so we have multiple choices here. And so Artifact would be really nice, but we can wait. Yeah, we definitely can wait. So we will play the Maestro's Theater. Just let's get our one and only black source. We play the Aether Spellbomb. Now our opponent looks like they're playing green red, so into Werewolves. I'm actually quite tempted to just use the Aether Spellbomb to bounce their next play. So we stop at their first main. Actually, because this is what, the beginning of combat? No, whenever it attacks. So this gives us a way to decide if we want to bounce anything else. Weaver of Blossoms. I think we actually bounce the Weaver here. Okay, we let that life back. We hit a Darksteel Citadel, which is great as well. Now, definitely want to put it in the Mistfall Bridge. Okay, and let's see if our opponent has the anti-artifact enchantment werewolf. I almost said vampire there. We are kind of flooding, but okay, Pack Song Pup, so we don't exactly. Okay, so our opponent does have a way to regain life, so they are going to dump all. They're going to dump Weaver Blossoms down too, which they might as well. At least we have a Kenku art. This time we kind of validate the Artificer a little bit. Obscure storefront. Yeah, we want it. So at least we can chump block with the Artificer. There is actually the skilled Librarian that makes a creature into a 5/5, but it's contingent on the creature itself staying on the battlefield. I decided not to run that one. I'd rather have an effect that is more permanent. So next turn, Obscure Storefront to bump our life total a little bit higher. There is a creature there is a werewolf with reach, so that would be an issue. Thankfully, these guys are indestructible, so it's gonna be more of an annoyance than anything. If I can hit an Ensoul Artifact, dump it on the Citadel, that makes it really big. Opponent going for the Unnatural Moonrise. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We probably just chump one of the. Well, this has Trample. Lots of Trample. We probably just block this one. Opponent does have to dump this one. This one does not have Trample, but that one does, so no point blocking that one. So if we can hit Ensoul Artifact or another Tezzeret's Touch, then it's game over. Aether Spellbomb is actually quite nice here, so we will go Storefront. So since we're probably not getting through, like I could swing with this one to force our opponent to chump block, then they get another shot of a Natural Moonrise, so we have to do a lot of, well, we can actually bounce something. So yeah, we'll force them to pare down the board. It has flying. That's so let's see, when this flips, this becomes a 4/4/4/4 really big creature. And really big creature likewise, so we will need to bounce something. Yeah, the natural moonrise can get you. Okay, so let's do some math here. 6, 11, 12. So we do have to bounce something. Oh, the fact that they're casting more werewolves instead of just swinging with everything and represent. Now they do get to recast this, but it's not the, but it isn't the worst scenario. Also note, but we do. I will have to note that our life. Yep, nightbound form. You can only pump itself, so you're probably just better off recasting the pup. Actually, we are one mana. We are 1 point of damage away, so that is another. That is an issue. Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, and it stacks. Good game. We just needed to draw into that one. We had the mana to sack, but sack if ever. Yeah, we would have been forced into blocking duty, which would not be the worst there. So there we go. At least we got 1 win off the deck. It also helps that our opponent was just dumping more werewolves. I think our opponent played too many creatures and not enough which is a bit hypocritical of me to say, considering I'm also not quite running a lot of interaction as well. So we'll do Ginger Brute. Now I'm tempted to just do Ensoul Artifact Ginger Brute, but the responsible play is Ensoul Artifact the Darksteel Citadel. We are really short on mana though, so I'm actually more tempted to play the Aether Spellbomb. See if our opponent has plays anything in response. Yeah, the Thirst for Knowledge is actually not looking quite good. I might end up cutting it for something else. I'm trying to think. What are the odds our opponent has Artifact Disruption? Let's not chance it. Let's set them back a turn. Okay, we hit our Disruption Protocol mana. Though Disruption Protocol requires us to have an untapped artifact, so probably Ginger Brute does the job there. Opponent going for, well, they're going wide, so Darksteel's, so we might actually just hold. Domri's Ambush, okay, sure. Hit a Mistvault Bridge, so I am tempted to just hold back. Yeah, we'll hold back once. Because we know our opponent wants to cast something big. Okay, that's not it. We're okay with that. Yeah, between these, they really want to cast something big. That's not it. Do I let it go? They only have two. I think I do. Because I'm suspicious on this one. Because these are okay, this is a druid, so it's not quite that one. This is definitely a +1/+1 counter strategy, but I have no idea what is up here. Just, okay, another Arachmancer. Animating Fairy on this one is fine, but not great. Let's see what dangerous creature our opponent has in store for us. Maybe I should have saved the Aether Spellbomb for that, though. No, I think we did all right, all things considered. Yeah, losing the Ginger Brute is rough. I had to. It's very hard to. You're gonna lose it most likely to damage. It's hard to assume that it's reasonable to assume our between green and red that there is gonna be some amount of artifact removal. That's even if it's just incidental. If our opponent dumps a really big creature, I may consider just holding back, cast Thirst for Knowledge, and see what we do from there. We are kind of short on lands. I want to do no. An Animating Fairy is not going to help here, but it does help us a 2/2 flyer. If our opponent neglected Reach, we might be able to go for it. Opponent knows that they have to hold back at least 2 creatures. Though an Archomancer is a pretty good mana dork for this function. You effectively get your mana's worth without tapping, unlike Llanowar Elves. Though our opponent seems to have dropped off the face of. I have no idea what happened. They functionally have 7 mana. So we hold back 1. I could just swing with both, but I like the idea of holding 1 back because, yeah, sure, let's see our opponent double. Only because this is most likely, maybe subconsciously I figured our opponent just dropped off the server. So that's kind of why I'm going for this play. Not the best way to see this one go, but this is at least this one performs relatively better compared to the other deck I was trying to run. I'll probably talk about it when we get an actual historic event that I can run this on. Yeah, but it looks like our opponent just dropped off. That's a shame. Yeah, I'm starting to think maybe we cut down the number of either Artificer or Animating Fairy. Maybe we just drop 1 of each. We add more interactive artifacts. I like the Aether Spellbomb. Let's see. We don't have that many indestructible artifacts. I think we have the Axe, but that's a rare, so we're not gonna get that here. That's a shame, but. Ichor Wellspring is also a good addition. Like, our opponent will probably want to destroy it. We kind of lose 2 cards unless we use Tezzeret's Touch. But then we do net cards back off it, so that is also a possibility we can consider. Yeah, looks like our opponent just dropped off. It's also possible something happened, but yeah, we're in. And unfortunately, I can't bring up. Yeah, I should have brought up and saved the log earlier. Oh well. We'll probably do 1 more game or 2 more games, then we can call this episode. It's as far as the only reason I believe this is quite viable. We probably could run more indestructible artifact lands. Actually, I would prefer regular artifact lands in general also, but we can't have it all. Like, this is a horrible keep. Like, we only get Aether Spellbomb, Ginger Brute. I already learned enough not to rely on hitting that. This is much better. We can probably drop Tezzeret's Touch. I would like to drop. I could drop a fairy as well, but there is a very good chance we're probably just gonna hard cast the fairy, so we'll drop the Touch, which allows us to turn 1 Ginger Brute. A trick we can, depending on what cards our opponent plays, I might just go Ensoul Artifact here. Now the reason I'm taking a risk on this one is because we have Maestro's Chatter and we can animate the Darksteel Citadel this way. So we have a long-term plan following this short-term plan. I think we... Yeah, animating fairy also works. I'm tempted to just animate the other one, especially because our opponent's playing green-white. Now there is enchantment style removal, so that would be a pain. Borrowed time, which what? This is non-land permanent, so this one actually dodges it. Anyway, we will get our swamp this time. So our opponent is going to need, unfortunately, March of Otherworldly Lights are rare, so that's not here. Borrowed time, yes, it's non-land. That's the beauty of it. Now our opponent, and that's also a reason not to run touch here. Yeah, they just realized hitting so many permanent types is a downside. Oddly enough, Circle of Confinement, Portable Hold, those are better options here, at least against us. Because it would just only it will only matter that it's a creature. It doesn't matter if it's a land. Oh wait, no. Portable Hold, it matters. Circle of Confinement, it does not matter. I think Baffling End also doesn't can also dodges it. 2 Delver of Secrets. What gives? We'll take him though. Let's do one more. So our opponent was planning for the long game, but the game did not hit long enough. That's kind of what we were looking for. It doesn't always pan out, but it's fine for midweek madness. Now, that said, there are spells that will dodge the indestructible, so that's something to keep in mind. So I am willing to keep this because we have enough lands. Might as well play the Mistvault Bridge. Next turn, I can play Goldmire and just probably Fountain of Renewal. Kappa Tech Wrecker. I am tempted to actually just play the Fountain of Renewal here. See if our opponent trades the Death Touch counter. It's an exile effect. So, they could have exiled our lands actually. Opponent missed that interaction. That said, nope. Play another one of these. Play an Aether Spellbomb. Definitely not bouncing Tech Wrecker at this point. I might even sack this to draw a card, depending what our opponent drops. Oh wait, yeah, because this is exile. This is exile, it's not destroy. So this is actually very good tech against the bridge plan. We were just lucky our opponent missed it here. We'll take... I think our opponent might have another ninja to bring back. In which case, they have another wrecker. Now, the interesting thing is, if we bounce in response, they can... We're actually going to take the hit. If they did not realize it last time, they're not going to realize it. There's a chance they don't realize it again this time. I think they realized it now, so that might be a problem. So we're gonna reset it. We're gonna lose the bridge, but that's fine here. It does mean I probably just play Ginger Brew to manually block. Yeah, I guess we're manually blocking here. Yeah, this is actually... I'm actually surprised our opponent went with this tech. Now we will block, of course. Pass the damage. This doesn't have trample, so we can actually just sack this to gain life. And because this was blocked, opponent can't ninjutsu this. They're gonna just cast Blossom Prancer. So we now need to ensure to block this, but there is a... So what we're probably gonna do, yeah, this is a... What we probably do here is we just cast Thirst for Knowledge. So they will target that. We will Thirst for Knowledge. There's the Ensoul Artifact. Now we're drawing too many of these effects. We can probably... It's put into a graveyard, but Kappa Tech Wrecker is kind of dodging it, so... I might actually end up discarding these. Well, there goes the indestructible plan. Man, this is actually... Our opponent must have run into so many of this deck that they were willing to run this card. It's a good card, I would say. And they get to actually cycle it in again. This is a really bad matchup for us. Yeah, this one also incidentally exiling. Very good stuff there. Well, we don't want to play the Darksteel Citadel at this point. So I'm actually willing to play Tezzeret's Touch here. Now the plan here is block one of them. Unless our opponent has way too much artifact enchantment removal that I feel like this deck was... Actually, the more I think of it, there is another possibility. Our opponent could be running into a lot of shrines. This would be actually very good anti-shrine tech. So at least we get the fountain back, and we shave off one tech wrecker from the... So what we can do now is actually just play we can play all of these already. There's a Thirst for Knowledge as well. So that's one tech wrecker down. If they have a way to knock off the art enchantment, then we are in real... That's general... Oh, they have a way to knock it off. So we will lose Darksteel Citadel. We could also lose Fountain here, but without the second tech record to cycle this around, we'll see. They might actually have a second tech record. to cycle it around. Nope, they don't. So that's kind of it. Ginger Boot's fine. We are probably not blocking anytime soon. So I might just thirst for knowledge. Yeah, we're so behind that we're probably not gonna win this one. I kind of anticipated something like this. That's we could actually cut some of the Tezzeret's touches because that is reliant on the splash card. Yeah, that might be the better cut, all things considered. Yeah, opponent's just going big. We have no defense against this. We might as well just curse for knowledge, see what we hit. Discard 2 cards. We probably discard these 2. Because we need more creatures now at this point. I would love to cast Disruption Protocol. But yeah, this become... And all the creatures have Death Touch, so... That said, we can block and just make a food to... And just some chump block and eat for food, I guess. At least Disruption counters, but... Boseiju reaches Skyward. Yeah, we counter this. But we're probably not winning this one. Yeah, we got wrecked. But I'll take it. It's not too... Okay, let's... So we're not chump blocking. It's a good thing I did hold up the mana for that though. And we are gonna probably lose the Artificer. Aether Spellbomb does not quite do it. Does our opponent have removal? Yeah, because let's see, 4. Yeah, we lose this. We chump block, still not enough. Man, cycling wreckers. Actually, that's a good point. I did not run into a shrine deck. Depending on what we land, it actually would be bad. Whoops. And did I not? Nope, I missed the spacebar key, so that did not cancel it. So this will be the last game for this video. This is definitely an A+B. It is one of the more powerful ones if you can get it early, but that is the caveat here. This one I am willing to keep. Hitting an untapped mana source would be great as well, but I can just go Obscure Storefront Ginger Brute at least. Opponent is doing enchantments, so for better or for worse. We will go for the island for now. We'll drop the Ginger Brute. We'll offer the trade. There's more often than not, opponent does not trade for this. This is a case where we actually would prefer to have interaction. We will get black mana this time. And we're gonna start putting some pressure on our opponent. And the reason I'm doing this is mostly because Kenku Artificer only targets non-creatures. So I have to assume our opponent has creature removal in the form of an enchantment, so I definitely want to use Artificer here. Spellbomb can actually protect our lands, quote unquote. Destiny Spinner. Okay, I think our opponent is just gonna go wide at this point. They might not have the... We'll see. I'm pretty sure they have. The question is, do they have it right now? Michiko's Reign of Truth. Ooh, I just realized that this will hinder our counter spell plans. Yeah, we definitely will have to hold up Aether Spellbomb next turn. Tezzeret's Touch would be interesting as well, but... yeah, there's no reason for our opponent not to swing. Like, it's... they might be thinking of holding back, but then again... yeah, I wouldn't count on that. Yeah, what I would really like to do is land an untapped mana source Kenku Artificer on the bridge. Our opponent is gonna gain a ton of life off the Naturalist. I just realized that now the Naturalist is actually clean shaven. I was expecting him to look like Master Pai Mei from Kill Bill. Opponent actually going in the tank. I have no... like, our opponent has a lot of game here. There's no reason for them to go in the tank for this one. Did they forget the Naturalist has lifelink? No, if you play the enchantment deck for very long, there is no way you forget that there's lifelink. I suspect that this is an actual disconnect due to unfortunate circumstances. So yeah, I hope everything's alright on our opponent's side there. This is unlike the other one where it's yeah, there you go, opponent's back. Opponent knows that whatever he targets, I'm going to bounce. Well, not necessarily true. I might still bounce Naturalist anyway. It already got a lot of investment from the Generous Visitor. Yeah, that's bounceable. Hmm? That beef with button mushroom, marinate the beef. I think then we just use the oyster. Then just finish it with oyster sauce as you're cooking. Oh yeah, it's yun lang. Okay, opponent is replaying again. We do still have a blocker up though, so opponent probably not gonna attack quite yet. I'm actually now questioning: do I go Tezzeret's Touch on the bridge or do I go Artificer? Lots of thinking to do. Also, maybe we look for a cheaper card draw effect, preferably one that's an artifact. I'm starting to think Ichor Wellspring might be, but it really depends. If I had a counter spell, I would want to have one or the other, although in this case it's kind of moot because of Destiny Spinner. Opponent's back. I think our opponent's back. Literally just yeah, if things are significantly really bad, I would just concede at this point. Like if I actually had to go and cook dinner later, I probably would just call this match. So the Metallic Rebuke doesn't do anything for us. I could just drop Artificer. Yeah, I think I do drop Artificer. And the reason is we can always drop Touch later. Now I am willing to swing with this one and like trade it off for either one of the creatures. Though I think that might be a bad play. Let's just hold them. Let's just hold everything back. Yeah, missing the mana was an issue. Yeah, I kind of forgot that. Oh well, creature and enchantment spells you control can't be countered. That's probably everything in our opponent's deck. So this is and our opponent is playing. I wonder if they're running Circle of Confinement, it's really bad because it can snipe the bridge. And I'm planning to put Tezzeret's Touch on it just to make the game, just to end the game faster. Although I don't think this game is going to end faster at this rate. I am suspecting that our opponent really had to go. Or did our opponent just forget to put the interaction? And no. Aside from Destiny Spinner, this is basically stockless. Actually, that could mean that they are not running interaction. Yeah, two cards that don't really do anything. I could play Artificer, but it does nothing. I probably want to just play the Touch. I could also just Thirst for Knowledge. Yeah, I don't. Let's do it. I have no idea if our opponent's there or not. Let's find out if that is the actual issue. Also kind of ironic that you cannot use this emote if you are actually having problems. Yeah, Portrait of Michiko, not unsurmountable. Okay, opponent really did have an issue. Okay, so they disconnected there. Sad to see that this is how the last game ends, but that's the end of this game. Whew, and that's gonna be also the end of this episode. Probably run more interaction than what I'm running. I'd probably cut one Tezzeret's Touch. I might also cut one Thirst for Knowledge. I'd find more things to add. I might also cut some of the counter spells for actual removal. Like I would probably keep Disruption Protocol, although I did have a lot of mana issues, so the double blue might not be that easy to come by. But that's for you to decide if you ever do decide to run this. That's going to be it for this episode of the Magic Arena Run. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications and whatnot. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you again next time. Take care. God bless. Stay safe wherever you are. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.